Alright, so today's video is on the German FPZ.8001 fuse. This is slightly larger just because in this case I was a little lazy and I didn't bother checking what the dimensions were for it. I just took an approximate since I figured it was a model anyway. So it is slightly bigger, not by much, but it is slightly bigger than the fuse itself normally is. And this fuse is used on the Panzerfaust 30 Klein and 30 Gross. They can be used on the other ones, but there was another fuse that came out, and that one there replaced this on the bigger ones. So I turned this one into a cutaway because this isn't the first time I made this video. Last time I made this video, it was horrible. There's no colors on the parts, and I didn't even have this as a cutaway, so hoping this works properly for you. But there are a lot of pictures out there where you show Germans with their Panzerfausts with the head off of it, and they're installing something. This and the gain are the two things that they're installing. The Panzerfaust didn't come with them installed already. Mostly, I guess, as a safety. So you install these. This facing the back. This end is where the primer would normally be. And I could remove that just to show that it has a little divot like this. The later fuses, they're all facing the other way. So I don't know if that's because of the drawing being a problem, or if it's actually just what happened. They ended up switching direction on it. But that's what ended up. So we'll go into explaining the parts of this again. So obviously the case is this. Then you've got the setback collar, which is right here. It'd be nice if it's focused, but can't expect much, right? Alright, so you have that setback collar, which is here. You have the mainspring. You have a Lockback Spring, which is normally a round piece of spring like this, shaped like a hexagon, which is why you see the hexagonal shape here, but it's a piece of flat plastic because I 3D printed it and it was a lot easier to do it that way. Yellow and the blue are the same part. They're connected to each other, and inside the blue part is where the firing pin sits. I call it the same part because they work as one. They're pinned together with a firing pin, but there was a piece of sheet metal, which is a blue thing, and then the I guess inertial pellet or whatever you want to call it, which is the main part of it. Pretty simple fuse, but at the same time much better than the bazooka's fuse. So as I said, there are 3 springs involved in here. So the small one here is a locking spring, the setback spring, and the thing that's not colored properly over here is it's basically a clockwork spring that prevents this from moving forward even when dropped. It's a completely physical barrier. It cannot move at all because of this. No matter how much force you put on it, it'll get damaged before that. I can remove this to make it clear. In this case, I just use a piece of plastic, but as you see, the spring sits in this Alright, so I'll put the cap back on and try to get this to go down. I don't think I will be able to, but it's worth trying, I guess. When the Panzerfaust is fired, the impulse or acceleration will push this. You see it gets pushed down, and you notice this spring has already opened up. Anyways, this gets pushed down. And now it locks in that hexagonal spring that's there. So now the spring here has no real effect on the whole piece. So this is flying through the air, and this is now just free floating. It's sitting where it is because as it's moving through the air, there's nothing to push it forward. And this spring here has now come apart and over the, since it's plastic, it doesn't do what it's supposed to, but basically it's expanded and gotten out of the way of the blue thing. Now on impact with a target, obviously the grenade or the bomb stops, this casing stops, but this whole piece continues moving forward. And as that moves forward, it's able to, the firing pin that's in there is able to impact on the primer that's in here, which ignites again and sets off the whole the bomb. So that's just the plastic that uses that, and we'll pull out the whole piece here. So yes, it would look like that in reality. Obviously the spring I just made out of a piece of stainless steel that I had lying around. And where the hole is where a firing pin's supposed to be. My 3D printer wouldn't print it properly, so since you can't really see it well anyway, I figured I could just keep it from being, didn't have to make it. Anyways, very simple, like I said. As you see, the hexagonal washer or spring that holds it back. Once again, if one of these fired and didn't actually detonate, it's pretty dangerous at this point, especially if you drop the bomb that you found. It could technically set it off because there's no more spring pressure holding the firing pin away, and there's no safety spring in the front here once it's been fired. There's nothing, well, there is a little bit. One other thing that you see on these is there's normally a hole that runs alongside of the firing pin. That's just for gas. So it's a venting hole. It vents the gas, any extra gas, it vents it down through here so it doesn't affect the fuse train, I guess you would call it, or delay train. Explosive train, I believe you would call it. Anyways, that's how that works. All, technically 4 of these fuses, the FPZ.8001, which is this one here, 8002, and 2 models of the 8003, all work the same way. I will maybe make videos on the other ones. The only difference is manufacturing differences they made in it. Basically simplifying the design. This piece disappears and is replaced with just a solid firing pin, for example. Also, one of the 8003 fuses had a hole in here and a hole that went right through the whole part and past the firing and past the primer, and that was designed for a delay, basically a fail-safe. The thing will explode after a certain amount of time, because in the Panzerfaust round in the tail section, there's a hole going right through it with a metal reinforcement bar. The explosion from the powder would travel up through there, ignite a delay pellet in here, and regardless of if it hit an object, it would explode after a set amount of time. I don't know what that set amount of time is. I've never found the information on that. And that was apparently used in the Panzerfaust 150. And it's also used in later 60s and 100s, if I'm not mistaken, where you will see the same hole through the bomb tail. Anyways, as I said, I will try to make 3D models of the other ones. While I was looking up information on these and pictures on them, I did find that there is an animation on YouTube. Just look up FPZ.8001 if I'm not mistaken, and somebody animated in what I think is Fusion, and you'll just see a very quick video on how that works. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this, and if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. Thanks again for watching, and have a good one.